Good evening and welcome back to Fast Track. I'm Kyle Bloyd.
And I'm Laura Hoffman.
Coming up, we'll see how Boilermakers around campus feel about marijuana.
And Christy Wolf has more on green initiatives.
Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu once said great acts are made up of small deeds, and one man intends to prove it. My co-anchor Laura Hoffman has more.
Inspirational speaker Michael Cheatham visited Purdue recently. Cheatham, who is a national board member for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, is looking to start a national movement of good deeds. Cheatham spoke in Purdue's Fowler Hall, reminiscing of times in his life that inspired his current project.
One of the things I did on the way over here is as I drove through the toll booths, I always paid for the person behind me. And what I recognized is that the person in the toll booth was immediately impacted by that act of generosity. They're always like, wow, that's really cool. I go, yeah, that's how I roll.
He believes good deeds causes a ripple effect, as in, if one person experiences a good deed, others will follow suit. After his speech, the audience joined him outside the Stewart Center and witnessed the release of 100 balloons, each attached with a Ripple card. Cheatham hopes that someone will find the card and in turn do a good deed, then pass the card on to another person.
And right here, right now, today, April 7th, 2009, we're launching something that's going to change the face of the world, and you guys are all part of it. You're here, cheers, off they go.
Change may be in store for students in the residence halls when it comes to misuse of illegal substances. Current policy lists marijuana and alcohol as different types of offensive, but after a vote that went alongside the PSG presidential race, the student voice is calling for change. Brandon Davis has more on the story.
A referendum regarding the policy for marijuana users in the residence halls narrowly passed the Purdue student voting process. Current illegal substance code in the halls calls for zero tolerance when it comes to the presence of any marijuana or paraphernalia, differing from alcohol, which generally has a two-strike policy. With a vote of 2,970 to 2,567, students voted in favor of amending the residence hall code of conduct to allow for similar measures to be taken when caught with marijuana as what is currently in place for alcohol. We took to the streets to gather student responses, but found it to be a very soft-spoken subject. Students were willing to vote for a change, but were unwilling to share publicly their reasons for supporting such a controversial subject. The movement was being pushed by the Purdue chapter of the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws, who have been trying to raise awareness for the vote over the last few weeks. According to club president Sarah Wislocki, she says it is unfair to punish students more harshly for a drug she believes has less adverse effects than alcohol and that it drives students towards drinking. The next step is for the student government to look into the current policy to see if there is a viable way to address the situation. Simply passing a referendum does not guarantee change, but it does serve to show PSG and the university that it is a topic students want to have changed. Reporting for Fast Track, I'm Brandon Davis.
Over the past few weeks, we have learned about different severe weather phenomena from hail to lightning. Now in this week's Weather Notes, Brian Wolf is going to give us details on how to watch for these events.
In this week's Weather Notes, we're going to talk about watches and warnings, how they're issued and why they're issued, kind of combining what we've learned the past couple of weeks with tornadoes, hail, and lightning. So first, let's start with a severe thunderstorm watch. This is normally issued by the Storm Prediction Center out of Norman, Oklahoma, and that's issued whenever conditions are favorable for severe thunderstorm development in and close to a watch area. And you can see if you're watching TV, normally a watch area is designated by a yellow box such as this, and you can see this area of strong storms that has prompted that watch. But what if these thunderstorms get strong enough that there has to be a warning issued? Well, what are some of the requirements? Well, first off, a severe thunderstorm warning is issued by your National Weather Service Forecast Office. So Purdue University is located under the jurisdiction of the Indianapolis National Weather Service, and it's issued whenever we see on the WSR 88D radar or when a trained storm spotter reports a thunderstorm that is producing one or both of the following: 1-inch diameter hail or winds equal to or exceeding 58 miles per hour. Now, normally severe thunderstorm warnings are issued for about an hour, and they can be issued without a watch. And lightning, by the way, is not a criteria for a severe thunderstorm warning. And what does one look like? Well, if you're watching TV, normally you'll see counties that are highlighted in yellow that are separated from the rest of the counties that are not. Normally there's a guide that shows you if you're under a warning. So let's switch and see about a tornado watch. Well, the watch, just like a severe thunderstorm watch, is issued by the Storm Prediction Center out of Norman, Oklahoma, and it's issued whenever conditions are favorable for tornado development in and close to the watch area. The size of the watch area really depends upon the situation that day. And tornado watches are usually issued for a 4 to 8 hour duration, normally issued well in advance of even the severe weather development. Normally tornado watches look something like this on a weather map or on TV. You'll see a red area that is outlined indicating that that area could possibly see a tornado. So finally, we're going to talk about a tornado warning. Again, just like the severe thunderstorm warning, it is issued by your National Weather Service Forecast Office, and it's issued whenever it's radar indicated or when a trained storm spotter sights one. That's whenever that the sirens are allowed to go off, and that alerts you to get inside. You need to get away from windows and get into a sturdy location. They can be issued without a tornado watch in place, and finally they normally last around 30 minutes. So that's how long normally a tornado warning lasts. And you can see on this radar image, you see these red outlines of this box. This is a tornado watch. A tornado warning would be a county that is designated in red. So that's all from for this week's Weather Notes. I'm Brian Wolf in the Fast Track Weather Center. Let's send it back to the studio.
With continued efforts to reduce the amount of energy consumed daily, Purdue is currently in the midst of yet another sustainability campaign. Beginning on March 23rd and lasting until April 17th, Purdue students and staff can take initiative and pledge to reduce the amount of power consumed by their PCs. Christy Wolf joins us now with more information on how we can get involved.
If you've ever stopped to consider the amount of energy that you use daily from appliances, you'd come to find that it is a fairly significant amount. Now imagine how much energy is used by a lab full of computers when they are left running all day long. This realization of computer energy waste inspired the Climate Savers Computing Initiative to work with universities nationwide in an effort to reduce global carbon emissions from computers with the program Power Down for the Planet. Yvonne Eddy of Purdue's ITAP department spoke with Fast Track about the program.
It's an awareness campaign that is a friendly competition among the academic institutions to see who can get the largest percentage of their community to pledge.
The University of Michigan and Ohio State University are among other schools that Purdue is competing against to gain the most pledges. The winner of the campaign will be announced on Earth Day of this year, April 22nd. Prizes will also be offered to pledging students who drop off their pledge in Stewart Center Room G65.
It takes probably less than a minute. You go in, you put in your name, you put your purdue.edu email address, you identify yourself as a student, faculty, or staff, and hit the submit button, and that's all there is to it.
The ultimate goal to achieve by 2010 is to reduce carbon emissions by 54 million tons per year. That's the same as the annual output of 11 million cars or 10 to 20 coal-fired power plants. Every pledge counts, so make sure that you go to powerdownfortheplanet.org/Purdue to make yours today. With Fast Track News, I'm Christy Wolf reminding you to boiler up by powering down.
After the break, we'll join our sports commentators for your weekly roundup.
And we have an interview with Purdue superstar David Badaya. All this is coming up next on Fast Track.